Donald Trump is making friends again across the world. He's uniting people by throwing out tariffs willy-nilly. There was the global 10% tax or tariff that was going on. That's come away now. He's taken that out.
Nice.
So to make sure that he's still keeping people on their toes, he's thrown out dozens of new levies between 10 and 12.5% on all kinds of nations. I think 60 countries. And the claim is that it's they failed to prevent forced labor in those countries. So they're all getting it.
Right. And is this a big concern of his? I don't remember him talking about it in the past, but
yeah, he's really upset about car parks in the UK. Sorry, no, car washes in the UK employing people, forcing them to work for less than minimum wage. And yeah,
right.
Yeah,
obviously,
he's lobbying for better quality rubber dinghies to bring people across the channel as well.
And he just has nothing better to think about than the plight of car washes in Dagenham or something. But yes, well, didn't I hear as well that he threw some tariffs at Canada because they had a wildfire and some of the smoke was blowing towards America. So he just randomly went, okay, right, 50% tariff on this, 50%. Just like, wow.
Yeah, presumably it was like the foam to put out fires that got the tariff on or something. Yeah, it was interfering potentially with the World Cup final, which was in New Jersey, and it was making the air quality much lower in that area. So there was some concerns about having to delay the final and stuff. And I think he was like, right, I'm not having this. I need to throw some levies and tariffs. But it's also because the Supreme Court made his previous tariffs illegal. So they've paid out, I think, $81 billion in rebate, I suppose, tariff refunds since then. So I think now he's just chucked another one on, and whether or not the Supreme Court will like overrule that again down the line, I don't know. But it's not the only thing he's keeping him in the news. Like he said he's going to help Saudi Arabia enrich uranium. There's talk of him potentially bombing Mali as a non-war president, and also Truth Social, which you told me about yesterday. So tell us a bit more about this Truth Social bombshell, for want of a better phrase.
It's a good phrase to use. It is kind of wild. It is kind of wild, really. So, yeah.
Wildfire.
So, wow. Just Anyway,
keyword optimizing like crazy here. Pick that up, algorithm. Don't forget to like and subscribe,
please.
Anyway.
But yeah, so he, as many people will know, he has his own social media called Truth Social, because obviously there's a lot of true things on there, and it's very social. But there's been times where on Truth Social, he's tweeted something, and then that stock seems to miraculously do really well. And so what people can now do, if you're on Wall Street, is you can pay $100,000 a month or $60,000 for a 3-year subscription each month. Which is a bit of a bargain, really. But you can get that milliseconds, sometimes even whole seconds before everybody else. So when he posts something or someone else that's important, such as someone from his family or maybe another politician that's high up, that can then go straight to you, which I guess your AI can read, and then decide whether to place a trade or not. And so you would then, I guess, get in a trade slightly earlier than the people who get it milliseconds or seconds later. And it seems like everything that's been going on with this, it does actually seem to work as a trading strategy, because it seems as if he's, well, we could say allegedly, and let's just say that, but it seems like he's been kind of making announcements such as, we're going to allow NVIDIA to sell chips to China. All of a sudden, the stock price goes up. He's, not him personally, but an organization tied to him that looks after his money, already had invested in NVIDIA, and they make a huge profit. And so it's all tied to this craziness that's been going on that many people are calling insider trading, because it kind of looks like that. And it's like he's got his own way of just manipulating stocks and the price of oil and everything else. Because all it takes in one of these tweets, maybe it's called a truth, I don't know, but it's him to say, right, we're going to hit Iran hard. All of a sudden, the price of oil is going to jump. If you have that a few milliseconds before everybody else, you've got a really good winning trade.
Yeah, it's and oil is now back above $100 a barrel because this war just seems to be going on and on. And I want to say this because I know we'll get a lot of hate for talking about Trump and whatnot. In no way, and I'm not putting words into your mouth, Adam, like every politician, every leader, this happens, right? It's always happened. And it always will happen, right? If you're in that position, even if it's not deliberate, it will happen because you know this information, you talk to people, it's like inevitable. But when you're someone who presents yourself as like squeaky clean and different to everybody else, and that you won't do the same things as everyone else, and then you do it in some ways even more blatantly than other people have done, or maybe it's more reported, but whatever, you leave yourself open for a lot more flack. You leave yourself open for people to question it a lot more. And I have to say, being totally honest, when Trump got elected, I was quite happy about it. I thought that it would be good. I was like, after the last time when he was in power and there was, no wars, nothing going on, it just feels like something's changed. And he's now much more thinking about legacy, future, not really the same kind of guy that he was in terms of belief. And whether or not, I mean, working under the country that has the best psyop capability of any in the world and being just surrounded by those people all day, every day, is likely to have an effect over time, in your opinion, because that, I can imagine there's a lot of stuff going in his direction, information he's being given, people pulling the strings, all of that stuff, right? Because we just see like the WWE front of it all. We don't get to see the Vince McMahon, or maybe even behind the Vince McMahon, but whatever, right? So I'm not, I just want to make it clear that it's not like Trump bashing necessarily. Although at the same time, I don't give a fuck if you get upset, and you can leave us comments underneath as well. Just stick it in your pipe and enjoy it. There's a general. This is generally how the world's led, right? That's generally how the world's led. People in it for themselves, making money on the side,
it
conscienceless, human, destructive people.
I think that there's an element of that, and we often hear about different stories or allegations of corruption, and just like in the past with like the Bidens and what was going on in Ukraine and everything else, but it's not on a scale like this. This is more ambitious by far than like anything in history, because it's just so much. If this thing goes ahead, how many Wall Street firms, individuals, whatever, will be paying Donald Trump $100,000 or $60,000 a month? And how much crazy money is that? I read something the other day where it's estimated that the Trump family made $2.4 billion just out of crypto. So you remember when there was like Trump coin and Melania coin and all this kind of thing, and they just turned out to be huge rug pulls basically on the public. And then this thing is just, there's no rules apparently against, I guess, what you could call insider trading when it comes to the president, because people just assumed the president would have integrity. So we don't need that rule. And Trump's just waded in. It's like, hey, guys. And he just done it.
Well, it is also partly his power, right? Because when you try and negotiate with someone who's like unpredictable and irrational, you're more likely to think they're going to follow through on stuff. So for example, if the first time like Hillary Clinton had won, or the second time whatever her face Kamala had won, she can't go to countries and be like, listen, if you don't do this, we're going to slap a 30% tariff on you, or we're going to start bombing people that are related to you. They just go, yeah, whatever, Kamala. No, you're not. There's no way you're going to do that. Whereas Trump can go in and go, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna, like, push your shit back in or whatever. But people are like, he might just do it. There's that question of he might do, and I think that's his power, but it's also why he's able to do these things in full view. And he polarizes people, so he has really staunch supporters that love what he does, and no matter what he does, like, even if he came around and took a shit on their front lawn, they'd still find a reason for why it was a good thing to do. And then you have the staunch haters, so even if he does something good or makes a benefit or improves something, they'll find a reason that it doesn't work. And actually, if you look at history, all of the greats, or at least the famous, like, controllers, rulers, they've all been that way, right back to Napoleon, like, whatever. They've all had this sort of,
yeah.
it could go, they could go either way, like.
Yeah, which Trump, it seems, 100% can. Another thing I was just thinking there is, it's like you either have people who really love him or really hate him. Either way, people are always talking about him. And I think that's part of what he likes. It's that kind of crazy sort of narcissism to levels that, I don't know, I don't think were quite possible.
All publicity is good publicity at the end of the day, in the words of Oscar Wilde, I think. Or if they're talking about you, then it's good, basically, no matter what they're talking about.
Yeah. And I mean,
in some ways, does it level the playing field globally? Because China's had their version of Trump for the last however long, like Russia has, like, they're all people that are in charge, polarizing. It's their way or no one else's way. Does it kind of level the global playing field in some ways,
Kind of. I mean, yeah, but I think part of it, wasn't there a thing years ago where Putin became the richest man on earth? Because there was, like, all the sort of oligarchs, and he made an example of one of them, took him to court, and then sent him away for like 10 years, and then said all the others came to him and said, oh, well, how can we avoid this happening to us? And he's like, well, just give me half of what you're making. Yeah, give me half of what you're making. And so very quickly he became, I think, the richest man on earth at that time, which is nuts. But the thing is, America's kind of going, oh, we're different to everyone else. We're fair, we're open, they're trying to make the point that they're not the Soviet Union. Historically, that's what it's been like. But this is in some ways worse in many ways. And definitely way more blatant.
Yeah, I think, just to leave it on a point, just to put that fear into everybody's minds, to leave us all on a happy note before you click like and subscribe, is it's a very much like the world of 1984 forming. You have a very strong leader here, and a very strong leader in Putin, and then a very strong leader in Xi, and between them, it's like two are always against the other. That's how the war works, right? There's the three parts of the world, isn't there? And there's a forever war against one of the others. So they're the ally and they're the not, and then that switches over. And then when it switches over, they say, oh no, it was always that way. So like, at some point, Russia and America have a better relationship, China becomes the enemy, and then China and America have a better relationship, Russia, and it's just like perpetual, keeping us all on our toes with it, really.
You can see exactly how it happened, how it would happen. And just one other thing, sometimes people talk about TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Well, a lot of those people that appeared to have it before the election, and everyone's like, no, you're crazy, he wouldn't do anything like that. I'm sure now they're kind of going, I told you. Even though what they said was probably way more extreme than what's actually happening. But I don't think anyone could have envisioned this point where you have a president making billions of dollars just from things like crypto rug pulls, insider trading, selling selling information to Wall Street and the public. It's like, wow. And then he gets his face minted on a commemorative coin. It's like,
And now,
what?
yeah, and now there'll be a new thing that everyone's talking about, which is TDM. As in, tired of this shit. Let's change it. Let's move on. Anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of this little mini bite episode. We will see you again in the next one. As soon as something big happens in the world, we will be bringing it to you first. And Adam, as always, thank you, my friend.
Yeah. See you next time, everybody.